Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message
with Kurt Bjorklund.
Today we are continuing to look at some of the ways that the New Testament alludes to the resurrection after the resurrection took place. And I want to draw our attention to 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. It says this, "Beyond all question, the mystery from which true godliness springs is great. He appeared in the flesh, was vindicated by the Spirit, was seen by angels, was preached among the nations, was believed on in the world, and was taken up to glory." Now here's what I want you to kind of see from this today. This is a hymn because it's set off, or a poem, or something that the church appeared to say over and over. He appeared in the flesh, vindicated by the Spirit, seen by angels, preached among the nations, believed on in the world, and taken up into glory. So this is an affirmation, but notice what is said before that. Beyond all question, the mystery from which true godliness springs is great. So true godliness springs here is his way of talking about how this brings about life change. Now, this runs counter to how so many of us tend to think, because what we tend to think is that if I want to change, I need to redouble my efforts. I need to study the Bible more. I need to pray more. I need to serve more. I need to get in a group more actively. And all those things are good and can indeed help us grow in our faith. But he says the mystery, and mystery here doesn't mean something hidden, like a thing to solve. Mystery in the New Testament typically means something that was once not clear and is now completely known. And so what this is saying, again, that this true godliness that somebody can have is something that comes from believing the message of Jesus Christ and working it into your life. So what is it? He appeared in the flesh. Jesus came to earth. He was vindicated by the Spirit. Well, those in the world at the time saw him as a failure. His Spirit was vindicated. It says that he was seen by angels, which is probably in many ways a line that helped them to say it was attested to. He's preached among the nations. In other words, people heard about it, believed on in the world. And then here's this phrase, was taken up into glory. Derek Tidball again writes about this, and he says the hymn ends by celebrating again the ascension of Christ. The sixth line of the hymn thus corresponds to the third line. Indeed, I've suggested these two lines might form a refrain for the hymn. Some people have thought this affirmation of Christ's ascension to be out of chronological order, for clearly the preaching and the believing took place after Jesus was taken up to glory. The emphasis here, however, is not so much on the ascension as a past event as on the truth that even now Jesus shares in his Father's glory. In this sense, there is in this final line a sense of progression over and against the third line. The risen and ascended Christ has not only appeared to the angels, but he has also been received up in glory. The Greek preposition en does not denote movement, by contrast with Luke 24:26, where another preposition eis is used of Jesus entering into glory. True, the phrase in glory could be constructed adverbially. Jesus was taken up with glory. It may, however, refer to the glory in which Jesus shares even now. God's throne is the throne of glory. Certainly, this interpretation would cause the hymn to end on a magnificent note. The risen Lord now sits at God's right hand and enjoys a state of splendor beyond all imagining. And here's why I read that. It's easy sometimes to think that the path forward is more effort or affirming facts, but what he's talking about here is recognizing that Jesus' death didn't end the story. He ascended to glory. He reigns. He rules. He is currently the mediator, your provision for salvation, your access to God the Father, all because of the resurrection. The mystery of how godliness comes about is that you have this opportunity, this conviction, this confession, which is verse 16, where it says kind of beyond all question, the confession you have is in who Jesus is and where he is today. So the resurrection points you not only to what took place, but where Jesus is and why you can have incredible access to God and confidence in Jesus Christ.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.